Hello, this is a tutorial for making standard curves and interpolating unknowns from that standard curve. So we'll start with this Gen 5 data. Um, we have the the growth curve for macrophages at different in concentrations of LPS, and I have a standard curve here. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to make a curve of this data on my GraphPad. So first, let's go to statistics, select blank 560, make sure the well type is standard, and export this. So here's my exported data. What you would want to do is take these blank 60 values. So this is what you're going to make the curve out of. Okay, so a standard curve has two variables. One of the variables should be known. In this case, this is my cell count. So I seeded different number of cells. There's 40,000, 20,000, 10,000, 10,000, so on. And what the spectrometer gave me was their 560 absorbance values. So I'm going to plot this against this. Let's open GraphPad. You would go to New. Since we want a curve which depends on two variables, we will go for XY. The X data would be just numbers. The Y would be your absorbance values. Since this experiment was performed in triplicates, I would go here and select 3 in the number of replicates. Click create. Now you can put up your axis title. This is cell concentration. In group A, since we just have one group, you can put a title here as absorbance 560 minus blank. So this is arbitrary, it's not required, it's just for your convenience. We'll put all the numbers here. My first standard is 40,000, 20,000. So I just had 6 standards. Now this is the time when I enter the blank values. Select all the blanks 560 values for the standard one. Now you can paste them as transpose. So right now, if you paste it right now, it'll just paste in 3 different rows. If you want to paste in 3 different columns, you can right click, paste transpose, paste data. There's another easier way. Use Control plus Shift plus T, and similarly go finish it for all the data points. Now you can go to the data 24 here. This corresponds to your sheet. This sheet, it asks you what kind of graph you want. You can mention whatever graph that looks good to you. So okay. Now I think this point is making my graph look not so good. So you can exclude that value from your graph if you want to. You can select all these 3 and click on exclude values. Now your graph consists of only till 2000. I think this is more linear, so we'll keep that. If you so now this is the time when you try to interpolate your unknowns using this standard curve. So let's bring our unknowns. The unknowns were in samples. Again, make sure this is blank 560. and export. Now here's a sample. You should know which sample, which well ID has what kind of sample, and we'll start with this. Take this sample. So remember, you know the absorbance values for these, but you don't know the cell count, and that's what's your unknown. So you want to find out what's the cell count for these samples. So let's just try with two of these. Okay. So I'll just take sample 1 and sample 2, put them in the same order. You can leave a gap, it doesn't matter. I just left a gap so that I know where my standards end. It's not required. Now I want GraphPad to calculate the cell concentration based on these numbers and using this standard curve. So I'll go to analyze. You don't need to select anything, just click on analyze and go to linear regression. So it depends on you what kind of regression you want. If it's a curve, you can go for non-linear. If you think it's a straight line, you can go for linear. Let's go for linear regression for now. Select interpolate unknowns from standard curve. You can leave everything as default. Now you can get a lot of information here, like the r-square value. Remember, the closer this r-square value to 1 is, the better your graph. It also gives a trend line for your graph. And now go here in the interpolated X values, and here's your data. So for the first sample, the cell concentration is 3164, and for second sample is 2353. So you know that now, and you can interpolate all your unknowns using this way. So this was a tutorial for interpolating data using a standard curve. Hope it was helpful.